Let us explore some of those, tools we have right here to actually get our data transformed. The first one is actually home, which is where we are right now. With home, we can do a lot of things to this particular data we have right here. Second here is actually transform, and third is actually your add column. So the fourth one is actually the view right here, where you do your data profiling and all of that. So let us take it from this and this. Those are the two important aspects that you have to know. If you miss anything from this particular tool, you end up doing the wrong thing. So let's see what is going on right there. What this add column does is to actually add new column to the existing column we have right here. While the transform here would actually override the current column you have highlighted, either this one, or this one, or any other columns you would actually want to override and actually transform what you have inside there. So now the similarity we have between these two, right here, transform and add column, is that when you click on transform here, so you're going to see this particular text column here. Now you see it split column for format, you see this particular, merge, and you see extract. If I come to this particular add column as well, so you can see we have the same thing right here as well. So we have format, we have extract, we have, merge column and all of that. So if you use this one instead of this one, you're going to have a wrong transformation. Let's check it out. Okay, let's see how bold says to words. I want you to actually, add this particular, have a column that combine the first and the last name together. And you'll be like, okay. Now, what he said was he wanted you to actually add a column that will actually join the first and the last name together, not transforming it. But because you don't know what the difference between this transform and this add column is, you clicked on this particular transform because you know for sure that you have your merge right here, and all you did was to actually highlight the two columns together that actually activate this. If you only highlight one single column, it's still going to be activated even though if you are in the add column area. So right now we're going to do it wrongly before we do the right thing. So I'm actually here, I'm actually click on transform. I'm going to actually hold them together, and now I'm going to click on merge column. So what we have right now is this. It's actually giving us this particular part where it says separator. So it's actually telling us what do we need to use for our delimiter. Do you want comma? Do you want a column? I just want space. That is what is best. So now how do you want this to go? The header. So I can actually say full name. So I'm going to click on OK here. And what happens? You just have the name combined together, and you take this back to your boss and you'll be like, okay, boss, here we have it. You'll be like, where are the first name and the last name? You'll be like, I've actually combined them together. This is actually going to be awkward. No, that is not what I want you to do. I want you to add a column that will definitely give you this view and still have your existing first name and last name, down. You'll be like, okay, fine. Because you don't have the idea, you'll be stuck right here. So let me teach you what to do. We're going to have to take this off from here. We don't need to merge them yet. So we still have our first name, we have our last name together. If you want to do this, the right place to use or to do, or the right place to go and do this is you clicking on add column. So what I said was that add column actually give you a new column by keeping the existing column without touching it at all. While the transform column, we actually transform the existing column and all of that. So clicking on this right now, just come in here and selecting both of them together. You do this. So let's see what happens if I just go with space and I type in here my full name. So already I have the column inserted for me, and I still have this first name and last name kept. If I scroll to this end, I can see my full names right here. So what are you thinking? It's exactly what it is. So we're going to explore these tools, in detail as we keep on bringing in different types of data right here. So different types of table rather. So we have this. So for the purpose of this class, we are not going to be using some of those columns to analyze data. So as we bring in any of the tables, we have to just take away those columns we don't need. For the account number, we don't really need the account number. So the way to get this off is you go into home. And once you get to home, you can see where it says reduce rows. So clicking on rows now, you want to get rid of, top rows, bottom rows, alternative, duplicate, blanks, and even errors. And you can see if you want to actually keep any of those rows right here, you can perform that right on this. And here it has to do with removing of column. So that is exactly what we want to perform right now. We want to remove a particular column, which is this column right here. There are several ways to do that, but let us do it like this. So what happened? That column is gone. So let us come back to this particular aspect where you see my cursor rolling. So we have this place called applied steps. Whatever you do would be recorded right here, just like macro in Microsoft Excel. You cannot control it to undo it. So to undo this now, to bring what we have actually deleted, what you can do is for you to click on remove column here. And that brings this back for you. So let us look for that way to actually get this removed. Right click and you can see where it says remove and you choose this. Is gone. Okay, what if what we want to do is just to keep that column and remove other columns? So what you can do now is to right click again and you can see where it says remove other columns. And the only column that is actually left for us to see now is actually this particular customer account number. So that is not what we want. I just want to make sure I show you through what it is that you need to do to get things done right here. So finally, the last place to do this is on your keyboard key. You see where it says delete. Once you actually hit on delete key on the keyboard, it gets rid of what you don't want. So we're going to be using the customer address to analyze anything, so we can actually get a customer address of. So now if you want to get other things, you mustn't just delete it one after the other, one by one rather. So you can hold the control key to multi-select. So I've just selected on that one right now. I scroll until I get to where I want to have something removed again. So let's say we don't want this. Hold your control, you'll have it selected. So I still scroll to this end again. And the customer education, I have no business with that. And open account, member card. The occupation, we don't want to use it. So to keep our file size very small, so we can actually get rid of all that. So we don't want this as well. So let us scroll to the left-hand corner and see our selection is being kept for us. Can you see that right now? So because we actually hold the control key while we make selections. So we can choose to use this part right here where it says remove columns, and all those columns are gone. So we just have a few columns available for us to be used right now. So those are the columns we want to use. So what we've just actually done is to just see the difference between add column and transform right here, which we're going to still be using as we keep adding more tables inside our Power Query. So now we are done with this. The first thing we can do now after we are actually done cleaning our data and we are very much satisfied with what we have right here is to push this data into Power Pivot. How do we do that for the first time? So go to home, and from home you see this part where it says close. If you just say close now, the default is set to go into Excel worksheet. So don't do that. Just click on this particular part right here. It opens this place up for you. Close and load is the default I was talking about. So it's going to push this into Excel worksheet for you. So you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that at all. So all you have to do is to close and load too. So let us do that. So now we're going to have something like this. So what you can see now is this. It's telling you how do you want this particular data you have inside the Power Query to be loaded. So we don't want to load this into a table like this here. No. So we want to actually create connection. So once I just check on this connection, this one got unchecked. So the next thing again is for me to come all the way down and say add this to the model. So I can decide to load it this way. It's going to be right here. It's not going to be in the model, but I just want to add it to the model, which is to our Power Pivot. Now we have done the justification to it. Next is for me to actually go ahead and click on load. Let us give it some time. Now it's loading our data. And we're going to have the data right here once we are done loading it. All right, we have 10,281 rows of data here. So by hovering over it, it's going to give us the access to see all the tables that we have right here. So we can take a look at it from here and scroll all the way down and all that. So you can see we have 12 columns and it gives us the last refresh time and all that. So now here we have it. So if you want to go back to the same Power Query, you can click on this and that takes you back to Power Query where you can see your data. So just because we've actually loaded this data, we don't need to do the same thing again by clicking on this one. Even as you can see, it's not actually active right now. All you can do is just to click on this and it's going to take you all the way back right here. So what happens if you want to delete this? You can actually click right here and have it deleted. And again, what happens if you actually close this and it's your first time and you don't know how to get it back? You'll be like, damn it, what just happened? Don't get scared about that. So all you have to do is to go to the top ribbon right here, click on your data. If you're on home or any of other part of this ribbon, just click on data. And what you can see right now under get and transform is show queries. So click on show queries and that brings this back for you. So what about this? Just make sure you follow me step by step. You will definitely get everything you need to know from this class.